Donkey Jaw Projects.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Marshall Lee of DonkeyJawProjects.com, and today I tried to use this is again the Art Sound Off day 2, and today is going to be called Input Output. And basically it's a cornucopia of topics because I feel like I have plenty to talk about, but I can't focus on one thing for some reason. I just, my mind is a jumble, and a big reason why is because I take in a lot more content than I can put out generally, unfortunately. I mean, it's good to take in information. I love learning all the time. I want to be constantly learning. Right now, a lot of my learning is focused on writing stories and just writing in general. And also, it's always, I'm often learning things about, art and things like that, and marketing and stuff like that, all that kind of stuff. And, I get to take a lot of that in because I drive a lot, for my day job. Right now I'm on my lunch break for that. And so I can listen to podcasts. If it's more audio than visual, I can listen to YouTube videos and things like that, and audiobooks and stuff. Right now, I just listened to a book on writing. Yesterday, actually, it was a short book, more on kind of the marketing side and making a living with it type of thing. I'm also reading Story Genius, which is more about the craft of writing. Very, very good book. It's hard to read, I don't have a lot of time to spare my eyes. I can listen to a lot of things, but, so I'm reading that, a lot of times on my lunch breaks. Like I'll get to it a little bit after this. And I'm trying to write notes as I go too, because I really want to get all the juice I can out of this book. And I actually just, I'm trying to take in as much as I can, but at the same time, all this stuff gets me motivated and excited to create stuff and make stuff. So I try to put out stuff as much as I can, but I want to be very prolific. And I don't mean necessarily prolific as in putting stuff on social media. I mean, I want to always be present on social media, but I mean as far as like projects and stuff like that. Like I want to put out, graphic novels, comic books in series, anthology stories, a lot of stuff centered around comics, but even more than that, centered around story. Even if I do like art on YouTube, I want it to be centered around story, or talking about, story things, so even like I've been doing some Stranger Things fan art lately, which is kind of a bit of a distraction, I guess, but I'm also like using it as a chance to learn about story by kind of evaluating those stories. I got through with the second season, and we just rewatched the first season and are rewatching the second season now. So yeah, I mean, I just love story. I think it makes like, even I heard a guy talking about like learning the fundamentals of drawing and stuff like that, and he was saying like he had a hard time doing like figure studies and stuff, but he would do it, and then he would like he got bored with it. So one day he put elf ears on one of the figures he was drawing, and that made it more exciting for him. And then, he, like, in the drawing he was doing for the video, it was like he put fangs on a figure, and so it kind of added almost an element of story, really. So it's like even that, could help in your practice and things like that, which I thought was really interesting. I'll try to link his video in the description. Hopefully I remember. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I've been taking in a lot of stuff, but I want to put out more. And one of the things, like like I listen to like podcasts and stuff on writing, and one of the things is it's, the writers who can put out a lot of stories quickly. Well, I shouldn't say quickly, but like more quantity, like quantity. One thing I heard somebody say today was quantity leads to quality, which I thought was interesting because it's like, yeah, like which comic book you make or which book you write is going to be better, your 10th book or your first book. It's obviously going to be the 10th because you've had all that practice and stuff. So it's good to just kind of keep putting stuff out, even if maybe you don't publish it or something. Anyways, that's a tangent on a tangent. This whole episode's going to be a bit of a tangent, and I don't want to go too long. But one thing I'm thinking of is that, like, I want to put out a lot of things because, in the writing community, there's a whole thing about putting out a series of novels. That's like a really good kind of marketing thing, but also it would be fun, to do that. And I mean, to me, if a marketing thing is also something I would want to do anyway, like, I don't think of it as weird, so I don't know, it just seems like a good idea is really the point. Or just putting out a lot of different stories, but that's like prose, it's a lot easier. I mean, it's arguably easier to write a prose story because, you don't have to draw it. You don't have to, there's a lot more work that goes, it just is the truth, there's a lot more work that goes into making a comic. But comics are my, like, chosen medium, the one that I really like to do and get excited about. I don't read a ton when it comes to, like, fiction. I listen to audiobooks a lot. And so there's that. But I feel like I don't know that I know how to write a prose story. I mean, I think I should try. I have in the past, read plenty of, a decent amount of fiction stories, but it's not what gets me excited necessarily. But actually, I wouldn't mind doing it even if it's just to learn and practice. And also, like, right now, you guys, a lot of you might not know, I'm working on a kind of like a one-man anthology. It's called 12 Stories. And I'm wrapping up the first story, and it's about 7 pages. And I'm gonna just do, and it's about like a 12-story building, basically, and like each, story of the building, physical story of the building has, its own story. It's a very loose, I mean, I'm not gonna go from floor 1 to floor 12 or anything weird like that. It's very loose, and there's gonna be, I think there's gonna be an overall story. There's been many times I've kind of come up with one, and I have a really cool one that I think will work to kind of bring it all together, even though it's more of an anthology where each story is separate. They even happen in different timelines. They might even happen in different realities at times, like dimensions and stuff. But basically it centers around this like one like fictional like building and the building may even change at times. Like, it's the same building, but it might look different to different people and whatnot. Like, I don't know. These are just kind of loose things. I'm literally finishing up the first comic, the last 2 comic pages of the first story, called Lizard Brain. And I'll probably be publishing these, maybe all of it, but at least a good amount of it for free. And I'm thinking on my website, maybe I'll put it on Tapastic and Webtoons and things like that. But, I think I might put it predominantly on my website and just have it there because I don't know, it just makes more sense to me. We'll see. But anyways, so, the whole idea, the reason why I'm doing this anthology is because I want to get better at my craft. I want to get better at making comics. I want to get better at telling stories. And so what better to do it with than short stories, And so I'm thinking of doing, prose stuff. I have ideas for like, there's a thing called, what is it called? Flash fiction. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but that's like, I think it's 1,000 words or less. Some of them are as small as like 100 to 200 words, you know. And I was thinking about creating maybe some of those and then making them into like YouTube videos where I do like an illustration, and while I'm doing the illustration, the story unfolds, you know, for that particular story that will be the illustration. So, you know, just these are all different ways of getting better at understanding how story works and just writing stories that are compelling and that that have, you know, an emotional core to it, things like that. There's so many thoughts, so many things I want to do, and that's the thing, is like I have all this input, I have a lot of ideas. I mean, I'll never, you know, I never will be lacking ideas. Ideas are everywhere. Anytime I need ideas, I'll sit down for, you know, a couple hours, or just like even while I'm driving, just think of stuff, and I'll be coming up with ideas and after ideas. That's not the problem. I have too many ideas, you know, but executing on the ideas, having the time to do that is the struggle, and I am working on it, but I need to be more disciplined on working on it. And there's this concept that I've heard before, and the last time I heard it was from Jonathan Rector, who's also been kind of involved with Art and Story back in the Art and Story days, and just sometimes with Jersey's podcast and things like that. He's a really cool comic artist, and he does the YouTube videos and stuff like that. But I heard him talk about, and I can't remember what it is. It's like 70-30 or 80-20, that rule or whatever, where I think it's 20% of your work should be, you know, on taking in stuff, learning stuff, practicing stuff, you know, working in your sketchbook, and then, you know, depending on what you want to do, and then the 80% should be on the actual thing that you want to make, like your comic book, or if you're a writer, you know, it should be on your actual sitting down and writing, the time that you have free that you can use. You know, you should kind of divide it into that. And that's the thing, I end up doing way more of the stuff that, you know, is more practice and stuff than the actual creating things, when I do have the time. And I try to make time every day. Doesn't always work out, but I try my best. I try to get up early and do that before I go to work. So I don't know. That's the thing, the input-output struggle. That's kind of what I'm dealing with, and I have, like I said, I have a lot of things I'd like to talk about here. So, you know, I don't know. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. It's going on. It's gonna be 13 minutes and a few minutes or seconds. So, I will close it out there. Hopefully you found this interesting. Thank you for watching. If you're here on YouTube or on my Patreon, feel free to follow. You can follow for free to get all these art sound offs. So I'll be putting all this stuff on my Patreon. That's probably the best place to find it, because I may or may not do all these on YouTube. But also you can follow the hashtag art sound off on Twitter. And that's all. The only place I'm posting it is Twitter and Patreon and YouTube, or whichever platform I'm using to record the actual thing each day. So I'm going to do some experimentation probably. I actually tried to use one of the audio things today, and it didn't. It only records for 5 minutes, and, you know, I'm already almost 15 minutes here. So anyways, it's been going long. I won't make it this long every day. I'm trying to keep it under 10 minutes because I happen to be long-winded, so I'm trying to keep it around 10 or less. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys on the next tomorrow on the next episode of Art Sound Off. Peace out, guys and gals.